Mother Agnes Mariam is a Carmelite nun who has been living and working in Syria for the past 19 years. Now she is seeking to set the record straight on the lies and disinformation that is driving the NATO powers toward war against the people of Syria. This is the GRTV feature interview with our special guest, Mother Agnes Mariam de Latakkia. All right, let's start by talking about yourself. For those who don't know about yourself and your background, tell us a little bit about your experience in Syria.
I am not Syrian. My father is Palestinian from Nazareth. He is a Palestinian refugee from 1948 in Lebanon. I was born in Lebanon. I converted to Christ at 19 years old and entered to a contemplative order. Then in 1994, I began a foundation in Syria of a monastery that was in ruin, a 6th century monastery, laying 90 kilometers north to Damascus. And after the completion of the restoration works, we established there an international community for dialogue, peace, openness to both Muslims and Jewish. So I am there, as I tell you, since 1994, and we were as contemplative monastery, completely out of the public scene, you know. But during the event and the demonstrations, we noted a huge difference between what we were living, what we were seeing, what we were experiencing on the ground, and what others around us were living, and the everyday, everyday discourse of the international media, to the point that we felt it was like a plot. Something was going wrong. And this, induced us as a community, and as a head of this community, I was involved in getting better information and try to spread this information for the sake of innocence. Because while the international media were just talking about a peaceful demonstration, a huge peaceful demonstration, and fierce oppression, never giving the name of the victims, in the background, you had death squad working in the midst of the civilian population and making every day out of terrorism. Because we are living on the ground, we can raise our voice. It's not like, coming from outside and being a stranger. That's what we do.
Well, let's talk about this issue, because, of course, getting accurate information is extremely difficult from Syria right now, especially as it seems we're ramping up for another type of military action there. And obviously, everyone is wondering about the chemical weapons attack that was alleged to take place last week on the outskirts of Damascus. What can your network tell us about what actually did or did not happen there?
It's not the first time we can underline a kind of suicidarian way of acting of the Syrian government, because this is the way the mainstream media are always wanting to present this government. Every time you have a very special agenda, a very special events that will occur either in the Security Council, UN Security Council, or when you have a deadline, this poor government will perpetrate something that will achieve him. So there is something that is not reasonable, okay? And on the other hand, we have been, I was in Damascus, and not very far. We were, just nearby the hotel where the Commission of Inquiry for Chemical Weapons has just arrived. So from this to the Abbasin Square and to Jobar, more than 2 kilometers. How is it possible, for a chemical weapon to be blown up and not to have any smell, not to have anything? Second, everybody, began to ask this terrible question: how is it possible that in a neighborhood like Jobar or like Ghouta al-Sharqiyya, where you have a conflict, deadly conflict, running on since months, it is, in the frame of the big Damascus battle. Those neighborhoods, they barely have any civilians. Why? Because they are destroyed. Okay, and if they are not destroyed, the civilians, especially with the beginning of the counter-attack of the army, because the army had counter-attacked, I think the 21st or the 20th. We don't know why and how you had so many civilians in one place. Second, how is it possible in vacation and in such a frame where families are scattered, barely you have civilians living there? How is it possible that you have so many children together? This is, scary. So did they gather them? Why? And you see them all together, and we ask for an inquiry. Why? Because we want to know who gathered those children and who killed them. Okay. Second, we have heard in the same day, because it was before our eyes, more than 40 ambulances of the army coming out from those outskirts to the hospital in Masdi. And we have been told that they were soldiers that were suffocated by the gas, by chemicals. So what is the truth? Okay, we call, and then I will tell you something. Why this rapidity to issue an accusation and immediately to enter in a war that will, this war cannot only chastise the government, or I don't know who is the perpetrator. Let us suppose, but this war, as we have seen everywhere else, this humanitarian war or this chastisement, punishment war, will punish innocent, and this is not acceptable, and nobody is accepting it, and we are saying to the world, enough, it's enough. We don't know why you are always orienting your strength and your power against the civilians, against the innocent. You say big titles, but in reality, what you are doing on the ground is killing innocents. It's not that we want to defend a party against any party. No, all of those people are human beings. But the innocent, those people who are not, sided, that are not taking any side with anybody, just being there in Syria, what will you do with them? You will kill them. We have had how many injured people and killed people we had in Afghanistan. We had 1 million in Iraq. We had hundreds of thousands in Libya until today. So what is the justification of such a mass murder committed to punish? We don't know which perpetrator, because how is it possible to issue accusation before a real compliant inquiry? This is against all the laws. You cannot, and that's what the Vatican is saying. That's what all the spiritual leaders of Syria are saying. That's what Nobel Peace laureates are saying. But are we going to be heard? Because now this coalition, they were 150, and we see that there are maybe 6 or 7 countries. This coalition, what is the legitimacy of this action? And if there is no legitimacy, it means that every injury, every death that will occur from this invasion is a crime. And that's why we call for reason We call for de-escalation of this conflict. We call for a kind of ceasefire, but real ceasefire. We have to talk to those third parties who were also attacking the Inquirer, because someone doesn't want that the truth of this chemical attack will be really, known and completely verified. So we call, for one, that the Commission of Inquiry on Syria will come to Syria, will make its inquiry with observers, international observers. We need international observers so that the public opinion will be sure that it is not a trick, that it is not a hoax, that it is not a justification that enters in some kind of hidden, occult objectives, aims, that whatever they could be, as reason of state, as right to defend our own interests, or even right to protect. It's not like this. We have to stand against such an act, because it's not the first time they are trying it, and every time it failed. It didn't give any added value to a turbulent situation. So I am really feeling, and I will tell you something else. And this is what is said in our neighborhood. In our neighborhood, there is no government. We are under the armed opposition control, but the armed opposition is split in various sections. The liberal one, that is called Free Syrian Army. Normally, this Free Syrian Army is supported by the coalition, the international coalition against the Syrian government. But also, and this is the paradox, the Free Syrian Army is telling us that in case of an American aggression, AlQaeda, Jabhat al-Nusra, and the Islamic State of Iraq and Lebanon will have the supremacy and will slaughter everybody. And everybody in Syria, is under this it's like in a scary movie. Everybody is just wondering what happened. Where is the United Nations? Where are all the principles on which our civilization is laying? Where are the principles, the laws of the international humanitarian law? Where are we heading? Who is ruling us? There is no more international community. We don't have any hope in the United Nations. So there is no references, it means that the innocent are completely, delivered without any defense to the occurrence of those powers, superpowers. I think that we are entering in a barbarian era. It's like, the big invasion. It's an invasion, and we have nobody to defend us.
For more on this story and other breaking news and current events, please go to globalresearch.ca. For more research and analysis by James Corbett, please go to corbettreport.com. The Center for Research on Globalization depends on your support. To purchase a book or DVD, or to make a donation, please visit globalresearch.ca today.